Hi, I'm Mark from eReplacementParts.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the bushing housing assembly on your Ryobi 132R string trimmer. To remove the bump head knob assembly, I just unscrew it. Now the reel and line assembly just pulls away from the spool. Now I'll remove the plunger. The plunger is secured with a small C-clip. To remove the C-clip, I'll just put a screwdriver on it and pull it away. Now I can remove the plunger spring. Now we'll remove the slider. The slider is attached with a split retaining ring. I'll use a pair of retaining ring pliers to remove it. Now I can remove the slider and the two slider springs. Now we can remove the spool. The spool is held in place in two ways. First with a thrust washer, and also it's pressed on to the spindle. To remove it, I'm going to start by tapping the end of the spindle with a hammer as I push up on the spool. Now I'm going to use a pair of wire cutters to cut at the thrust washer. The thrust washer is not reusable, so basically you can use whatever means you have to pry it and cut it away from the shaft. With the thrust washer removed, now again I'll tap the end of the shaft until the spool comes off. Now I'll remove the guard. It's held in place with 4 fasteners. Now I can remove the bushing housing assembly. It's held in place with a clamp and an anti-rotation screw. First, I'll remove the clamp. Now I'll reinstall the bushing housing. First I'll slide the clamp over the shaft housing, and then slide the bushing housing onto the shaft housing. I want to line up the holes for the anti-rotation screw on the back of the bushing housing. And then I'll insert the anti-rotation screw and tighten it. Now I'll slide the clamp over the bushing housing. Tap it in place. And tighten it back up. I'll reinstall the guard by snapping it in place. Then I'll rotate it around until it lines up with the bushing housing. And I'll secure it with the fasteners. Now I can reinstall the spool. Just line it up with the nut on the shaft and then press it into place. And I'll use a hammer to tap it into place as well. Now I can install the new retaining washer. This is the one we had to cut apart earlier. I have the trimmer propped up on the edge of the table. I'll set the retaining washer over the shaft and use a socket just a little bigger than the shaft to tap it in place. Like that. Now I'll install the 2 slider springs. And I'll reinstall the slider. Now I'll use my retaining ring pliers to slide the retaining ring back onto the shaft and up against the slider. Now I'll reinstall the plunger spring over the shaft and the plunger. And secure it with the retaining clip. Now reinstall the reel. Now install the reel spring back onto the bump head knob and attach this assembly to the shaft. And that's all it takes to install a bushing housing assembly on a Ryobi 132R string trimmer. If you found this video helpful, please feel free to leave a comment or ask us a question.